So please welcome Mr. Deepak Chopra.
Thank you. How's everyone? You can hear me in the back? So I think I have 40 minutes to solve the mystery of our existence. So I won't waste any time. If you go on the internet and you type out the following question on Google or AI or wherever else, and the question is, what are the unsolved mysteries of the universe, the open questions in science, you'll get number one, a version of the following. What's the universe made of? That's the number one open question in science today. What's the universe made of? And the second open question in science today is, what's the biological basis of consciousness? And before I even go further, consciousness is what makes experience possible. So right now you're conscious that you're having an experience. That's the simplest definition of consciousness. What makes experience possible? What is the source of experience? So once again, number one question in science, what's the universe made of? And number two, even to ask the question, we need consciousness. So what's the origin of consciousness? You think we know what the universe is made of: force fields, electromagnetism, gravity, etc., etc. Well, then why the question? 70% of what we call the universe, the scientific universe, is a mysterious entity called dark energy, and we have no idea what it is. Think of it as opposite of gravity. It's expanding the universe faster than the speed of light. And what's expanding is the space between galaxies. So right now, you and I, we live on planet Earth, which is part of the solar system, which is the Milky Way galaxy. And at this moment, the scientific model says there are 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion galaxies. Milky Way, Virgo, Andromeda, on and on. 2 trillion. 700 sextillion stars. You can't even imagine what that is. And uncountable trillions of planets. Uncountable trillions of planets. Actually, based on what we call the James Webb Telescope and all the new technologies, it's now thought, and again, you don't have to believe me, so look it up if you want. It's now thought that there are 60 billion habitable planets just in the Milky Way galaxy. Habitable. Because they have a biosphere similar to us. Right temperature, not too cold, not too hot, certain distance from the sun, Goldilocks zone as it's called, the ratio of electromagnetic and force fields to gravity, etc., etc. 60 billion habitable planets just in the Milky Way galaxy. But then 70% is unknown. That leaves 27% remaining, 30% remaining, of which 27% is another mysterious entity called dark matter. We don't know what that is. We call it matter because it is responsible for most of the gravity in the universe. So if it weren't for dark matter, planets would spiral off, disappear into intergalactic space, and you and I wouldn't be here. But we don't know what it is. It's not atomic. We can't interact with it. We are made of atoms, and everything else that we perceive is made of atoms. So dark matter does not reflect light, absorb light, emit light. It's not only unknown, it's probably unknowable. So now we're left with 3% of the universe remaining, which is the atomic universe, of which 99.9999% is invisible interstellar dust, probably hydrogen and helium, which was made at the moment of the Big Bang. So that takes care of 99.999% of the visible universe. So the visible universe now, the visible atomic universe, 2 trillion galaxies, 706 trillion stars, uncountable trillions of planets, is less than 0.01% of what's out there. 0.01% is atomic, visible. 2 trillion galaxies, 706 trillion stars, uncountable trillions of planets, probably 60 billion in the Milky Way galaxy, is 0.01%. But atoms are made of particles, and there's something very mysterious about particles. When you're looking at them, they have units of mass and energy, which means they occupy space and they exist in time, and you can measure them in units of mass and energy. But when you look away, they disappear. Particles disappear into what are called waves. So the next question is, what are these waves made of that account for the universe, the visible universe, 2 trillion galaxies? What are they made of? Like, ocean waves are made of water. Sound waves are made of air. So what are the waves that make the visible universe an experience? What are they made of? And the best answer you'll get from scientists is that they're made of infinite possibilities. And the next question is, then where do these possibilities exist? And the best answer you'll get from scientists is they exist in something called Hilbert space. So the next question is, what is Hilbert space? And it turns out to be a mathematical space in mathematical imagination. Therefore, the universe that we perceive has its origins in mathematical imagination. And the briefest answer to what's the universe made of, the briefest answer is that it's made of nothing. Which leads to the second question. If it's made of nothing, why does it appear like everything? Why does it appear like you and me? Like this room, like rocks, like animals, and people, and stars, and galaxies. Why does nothing appear like everything? And that's called the hard problem of consciousness. The hard problem of consciousness. What's the biological basis of consciousness? So, because everything seems to have a biological basis, we ask ourselves, what's the biological basis of consciousness? And what I'm sharing with you is both a revolutionary idea in today's science, but also an idea that has existed for thousands of years ago. For thousands of years. In the Vedic tradition, in Sufism, in Islam, in the Gnostic Gospels, in every spiritual tradition that says that actually there's no biological basis of consciousness, that biology itself is an experience in consciousness. How do you know you have a biology? Well, you experience it. You can look at your body. You can look at a brain. You can look at what we call genes and gene expression. You can perceive these phenomena. You can conceptualize these phenomena. You can also mathematically construct models of these phenomena. Models. So science is a modeling of experience. Science doesn't give you access to fundamental reality. It gives you access to how do you create a model, a story, a hypothesis, a theory about what reality is. Science is a map. It's not the territory. It's a menu. It's not the meal. And science is a form of storytelling. So, according to deep historians, about 40,000 years ago, we took the road less traveled from other species. So, up until, say, 40,000 years ago, there were probably 8 different types of humans. We call ourselves Homo sapiens, which means the wise ones. We were humble enough to give ourselves that name. But then we gave names to other species, Neanderthals, Floroensis, etc., etc. And all humans, like other biological organisms, had a language. And the language in biological organisms is only for 3 things: mating calls, food calls, and danger calls. So once again, mating calls, reproduction, food, survival, and danger, survival. If you don't reproduce, you don't know how to avoid danger, and you can't get food, then you don't survive. But then one species, you and I and our ancestors, created a language for stories. And there's a phrase in anthropology, to be human is to have a story. Right now I'm sharing with you a story. And the most common story, of course, of humanity always has been gossip. Okay, we call it news these days, but essentially humans like to gossip. Who's sleeping with whom? Who can be trusted? Who is going to betray you, etc. Who's a good friend? Who's a good enemy, etc. So that language for storytelling actually made us the species that we are. It changed our brain, it changed our biology, it changed our genetic activity, and it changed how we experience the universe. Stories. We didn't stop with just ordinary stories. We created models of reality. We created things like Greenwich Mean Time. It's a colonial concept, right? It's not called Bangladesh Mean Time. It's called Greenwich Mean Time. Latitude, longitude, nation states, empires. Then we created another very successful story. It's called money. Okay. Money is a story. We created it. First, I'll give you a haircut, you can fix my shoes. Too inconvenient. Here's a shell. Here's a copper coin. Here's a piece of paper. Here's crypto. Now it's all digital money. Most amazing human story. Had it not been for money, we wouldn't have created nation states and empires and everything else I'm talking about. Everything. But the language didn't stop. Language became mathematical, language became biological, language became physics, language became all the models we have for what we call reality. The theory of relativities, the 2 theories of relativities, quantum mechanics. These are models of reality. They're not reality, they're maps. They're maps that help us navigate human experience. Think of them as menus when you go to a restaurant. The menu points to the meal that you can eat. You can't eat the menu, and nor can you navigate experience by just looking at a map. You have to eat the menu, and you have to experience what we call reality. So now that I've given you a scientific explanation of where we are, What's the universe made of? It's made of nothing. And what's the biological basis of consciousness? There isn't any. So what are we left with? We are left with experience. So right now you're experiencing, I hope, an entity called Deepak Chopra on the stage. What else are you experiencing? You're experiencing your own body. Okay, you're experiencing this room. You're experiencing thoughts. And if we want to actually sum all experience, then here's the simplest acronym. SIFT, SIFT. We create experience through SIFT. S stands for sensations, the sensation of sound. You can hear me right now. The sensation of color and shape and form. You can see me right now. The sensation of touch. You could come close and touch me, or smell me, or taste me. So, experiences 5 sensations, human sensations, not crocodile sensations or butterfly sensations, human sensations, within a narrow bandwidth of the electromagnetic spectrum. Sensation of sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. So that's S. I stands for imagination. Not only can you experience sensations, you can imagine them. You can close your eyes and think of John Lennon singing, and you can hear it. Think of John Lennon singing Imagine, and you can imagine the song, and you can hear it. So you can imagine sensations. I stands for images and imagination. F, feelings and emotions. And T, thoughts. How do we interpret the whole thing? So once again, our experience of reality is based only on 4 things. Sensations, sense perceptions, human sense perceptions, not those of any other species, human imagination, human emotions, and human thoughts. Even how we interpret the behavior of other animals and other species is based on human experience. We interpret the biological experience of other species in science through human apparatus, the human body-mind apparatus. All experience, therefore, is a modification of consciousness as it modifies itself into sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. So right now you are conscious of your body, you're conscious of this entity, Deepak, you're conscious of this room, and you're conscious of all that I've said to you. And where is this thing that we call consciousness, without which there would be no experience? Where is it? Where are you experiencing me? Where's the sound of my voice? That's part of the hard problem of consciousness, because there's no sound in your brain. What's coming to your ears is the vibration of air molecules. What's going to your brain is electrochemistry, or electrical signals. What's happening in your brain is electrochemistry, but you are hearing this guy speak in English with an Indian accent. Where is that sound? There's no sound in your brain. There's no image in your brain. There's nothing that we call experience in your brain. If I cut a knife through your brain, there's no experience. So where are you having this experience of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts? Let's call it consciousness. Then the next question is, where is it? Why can't I see it? You can't see it, but it makes seeing possible. You can't hear it, but it makes hearing possible. You can't touch it, but it makes touching possible. You can't experience it, but it makes all experience possible. Where is this fundamental ground through which we experience the universe? Why can't we see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, or even conceptualize it or imagine it, even though it's the source of all experience? And the reason we can't see it is that it has no form. Everything that you experience as reality has some kind of form, some kind of shape. But consciousness has no form, and because it has no form, it has no borders, and because it has no borders, it's infinite, it's spaceless, it's timeless, it's unimaginable, it's incomprehensible, it's fundamental, it's radically the substance of all that we call the universe. It is consciousness that conceives, governs, constructs, and becomes everything that we call reality. From biological forms to their experiences through human constructs like money and latitude and longitude and nation states and Wall Street, and everything that you can name has its source in one reality. So today I offer you a new formula for existence that goes beyond what we call the naive realism of Einstein and other great scientists. Not that they were wrong. They knew what they were talking about, the map and not the territory, the menu and not the meal. If you want to understand the meal, then here's the new formula. 0 is equal to infinity is equal to 1. Once again, 0 is equal to infinity is equal to 1. Now it doesn't matter what you call the 1. Okay, you can call it Brahman, you can call it Allah, you can call it non-local being, you can call it timeless awareness, you can call it fundamental reality, but it is the source of everything that we can experience. And we as humans have the privilege to actually have access to it and create new constructs that will leapfrog us into a future that even Homer never imagined, or even the sages of the Upanishads never imagined. We started with stories, then we created fire, and had we not created fire, we wouldn't have the steam engine, we wouldn't have this anatomy, we wouldn't have this brain, we wouldn't have the industrial civilization, we wouldn't have the age of technology, and we won't have AI. This is the privilege of being human, that we can take raw experience, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, and create the world that we have created. The universe that you and I experience is a human universe. It's a human construct. It's a human idea. But we wouldn't be able to create this universe that we have created if we do not have access to the infinite. The infinite formless, call it the divine, call it fundamental reality. The infinite formless is present in every finite experience. This experience you're having is possible only because the infinite is present right now. God is not difficult to find. God is impossible to avoid. So with that as an introduction, and the remaining 10-15 minutes that we have, let us go through an experience. Let us do a short meditation that will explain even further what I have shared with you. So before I go into the meditation, let me ask you a question. So far, is this interesting to you? Yes. A little more enthusiasm, please. Okay. So, now let me try something with you. Let me ask you the same question, but do not answer it. Okay? Same question, do not answer it till I raise my hand. And when I raise my hand, and this is not a Nazi salute, I'm raising my hand, okay? Then you can enthusiastically say yes, but don't say yes till I raise my hand. Do you find this conversation interesting? Yes. So my question is a thought. Your answer is a thought. In between is you. The infinite presence, awareness, spirit, without which there is neither thought nor experience. So before we go into the meditation, once again I'm going to ask you the question. Don't answer it, just slip into it. Do you find this interesting? This presence that you feel is your soul, not your mind, which might be saying, I wish I'd gone to the bathroom before he started, or something like that. That's the mind. The presence, the awareness, the infinite is right here. Right here. So if we do nothing else, I hope, after this, you carry that presence with you wherever you go. And that will be what the spiritual traditions call synchronicity, good luck, God's grace, spontaneous fulfillment of desire, higher consciousness, insight, intuition, imagination, and creativity is all in that presence, which is your own soul, which is a wave on the ocean of the infinite that conceives, governs, constructs, and becomes what we call the universe. So with that, I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to close your eyes and uncross your feet and keep your hands in your lap open and start with just observing your breath. Notice that in the deeper reality we don't breathe, we are being breathed. We are being breathed. We share the same breath. We share the same molecules. We share the same mind, turbulent as it is. Breath is our sensation that connects us to the infinite and finite experience. Breath. The divine made man from the dust of the ground and breathed into its nostrils the breath of life, and we became a living soul. Now bring your awareness to your heart, in the middle of your chest, and mentally ask one question. Who am I? What am I? Don't try to answer the question. Just be aware of any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought that may spontaneously arise. Who or what am I? Now, go a little deeper. Ask yourself, who or what is asking the question? What is it that wants to know the answer to this question? Who am I? What am I? Go a little deeper. Am I the changing experience of the body? Or am I the awareness, the consciousness, the spirit, the awareness in which the body is a changing experience of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts? Once again, am I the changing body? Or am I the awareness in which the body is a changing experience? The awareness, the consciousness, the spirit. What or who am I? Go a little deeper. Am I the changing mind with its thoughts and feelings and emotions? Or am I the spirit, the consciousness in which my mind is a changing experience? Once again, do not try to answer it. Be aware of any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that may or may not come to you. Am I the changing mind, or am I the awareness in which the mind is a changing experience? What am I? Who am I? Now go to the next reflection. What do I want? What is my deepest desire? For myself, for the world. What do I really, really, really want? What is my deepest desire for myself and the world? Once again, do not try to answer it. Be aware of any insight, any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that may spontaneously arrive. What do I want? Third reflection. What is my purpose? How can I help? How can I serve? Once again, do not try to answer it. Be aware of any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that may spontaneously arise. What is my purpose? How can I serve? Fourth and final question. Notwithstanding all the challenges in my life and the world, what am I grateful for? Gratitude opens the door to abundance consciousness, to generosity of spirit. What am I grateful for? Allowing any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts to spontaneously come to you. What am I grateful for? And now let go of all of that and just become aware of sound, including the sound of my voice. There are other sounds too. Become aware of them. And notice that sound is like the breath. It arises, you experience it, then it's gone. Before it arises again, just like the breath. So gently remind yourself, I am the awareness in which sounds arise and subside. Now feel your body, feel the sensations in your body, feel your skin touching your clothes. Feel the air on your skin and notice it's another sensation, just like sound or breath. Gently remind yourself, I am the awareness in which sensations arise and subside. Now let's create some images in consciousness. So imagine a beautiful sunset, imagine a full moon, imagine a starlit sky, imagine a lush green valley, imagine snow-clad mountains, and notice how these images flicker in and out, like the breath, like any sensation. And gently remind yourself, I am the awareness in which imagination arises and subsides. And now let your awareness expand beyond the boundaries of your skin. Let it engulf this room. Let it engulf London. Let it engulf Great Britain, the planet, the Milky Way galaxy, all of 2 trillion galaxies and 700 sextillion stars, and uncountable trillions of planets. And gently remind yourself, I am the awareness in which the whole universe recycles and evolves as my own sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. And just repeat to yourself, now I am, with no name attached to it, no memory, and no anticipation. I am, I am, I am. And finally, let go of that, and what's left? What's left is you, pure consciousness, not tarnished by any experience, pure knowing, pure creativity, pure love. Love as the ultimate truth, at the heart of creation. Rest in this awareness. Rest in your own being. Rest in your own presence. Awareness has no shape, no sound, no color, no form, but without it, there is no universe. Awareness is the infinite in every finite experience. Rest in your own presence now. Now relax into your body and gently open your eyes. As the great Sufi poet Jalaluddin Rumi said, God's language is silence. Everything else is poor translation. So thank you for listening to this poor translation.